Hello, welcome back to Foos Entertainment for my review of 2021's Zack Snyder's Justice League on 4K Blu-ray. Now, there's no plastic emphasis on the back of this, being this a steelbook, but it's pretty easy to go over plot. Bruce Wayne, played by Ben Affleck, is known as Batman, must assemble the world's greatest superheroes to battle against a outer-worldly force that wants to enslave the human race. Now, we've seen this before, but for the first time, experience the film as it was intended by the director, Zack Snyder. In this nearly 4.5 hour to 5 hour event. All right. Pretty simple to do it like that, I guess. All right. The world's opinion. The world actually is the reason why this exists. This wouldn't exist if you didn't have this movement of fans. You know the history and know the story about studio interference and about how plot points were left out and how the film was just simply changed from what it was supposed to be into something that is not supposed to be. And that movement grew and grew and grew. And then, well, HBO Max actually allowed for reshoots to be done. And everybody came together and reshot some stuff and used footage that was lost, and they made basically the definitive version of Justice League. This is a very different movie than the 2016 version you saw in theaters. And unlike the 2016 version of the movie, Zack Snyder's Justice League is rated R, so keep that in mind. This is a rated R movie now, not a PG-13 film like it was. And of course, some things have been changed about the way the film looks as well, and we'll get to that. And the world really accepted this. This was a big event. In fact, it was considered the biggest streaming event on HBO Max. It might still be, for all we know. All right, my opinion. This is my preferred version of the film. It is very long. I wouldn't recommend watching it on a work night. But this is my preferred version of Justice League. The reason why I reviewed both versions, now we're on to this version, is because I really wanted to see how much of a different movie the 2016 version is compared to this. To me, Justice League, the Zack Snyder version, is basically like the full circle of what he was trying to do. And it does it quite well. And it lives up to what he was creating by creating a very adult, very gothic, almost horror gothic in its own nature, gritty superhero universe with all these DC characters. And it definitely pays off in this. Now, let's go on to the differences between them, because I think that's something that's cool, pretty cool to talk about. Um, one of the biggest differences is that Steppenwolf is the henchman in this movie. He's the henchman. He's not the main villain. He's the henchman. Now, the main villain, in my opinion, doesn't get enough screen time, but at least he gets screen time. And the main villain in this is Darkseid. And that's something that really irritated fans a lot, is the fact that in the theatrical version of this movie, they don't even acknowledge that Steppenwolf is a minion for Darkseid. Now, Darkseid is basically the equivalent of Thanos in the MCU. He is the big baddie, the ultimate villain in the DC universe. Literally a villain that is so powerful, he has the ability to kill every single member of Justice League. That's how powerful this villain is. And if Zack Snyder would have gotten what he wanted, because he wanted to make 3 movies that were basically about the Justice League story. There's supposed to be 3 movies. We would have seen Darkseid probably kill some of our heroes. Probably would have seen a lot of dark stuff happening, but of course it didn't happen. What we end up getting is this. But seeing Darkseid, that right there, that one difference, Darkseid is scary. He's very intimidating. And the look of Steppenwolf. A lot of people really didn't like the look of Steppenwolf in the 2016 version. Steppenwolf is pretty freaky looking in this. Steppenwolf is actually a scary looking character. Now I see Darkseid scarier. Steppenwolf is actually scarier. Yes, just like in the 2016 version, he is a CGI character, just like Darkseid's a CGI character, and all the villains really. The difference is Steppenwolf looks like a monster in this movie, while he just looked like some weird cartoons character in 2016 version of the film. You get the sense that Steppenwolf's actually intimidating. And you want to fuck with this guy. And I can say that because this is a rated R movie. And seeing Darkseid, I cannot stress how important it was to see Darkseid. Another big difference between this version and the 2016 version is the fact that we see Superman wear his black Kryptonian suit. He wears his black Superman suit in this movie, which I really like that. I think it spends a lot more time developing the characters, because in a lot of ways, essentially, although we have watched their origin stories, they spend more time developing, say, Aquaman in this movie, as well as The Flash. There's a lot more time used to develop these characters instead of it being rushed like it was in the 2016 version. The look of the movie. Let's go ahead and talk about that. They went for more bright colors and make it look like a regular movie with regular cinematography when it comes to the 2016 version of the film, which goes completely against what Zack Snyder did with Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, as well as Justice League. Wonder Woman is a bright color of a looking movie as well, but that's for his own reasons. But when it comes down to Justice League, it needs to look like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Well, in Zack Snyder's version of the movie, it does. Then, much like Batman v Superman on 4K, you get the IMAX 4:3 frame format of the movie. Now, it's a very interesting format, and I think it's worth talking about because it's not a pen and scan 4:3 frame per se. It happens to look a little bit like it. But what Zack Snyder did with his movies during his extended DC universe is all of his big movies, except for Man of Steel, because I don't think the technology existed at the time. But he intended them to be shown in a IMAX frame, to where instead of it being just a little bit bigger on the tops and sides, bottom, top, and sides, he wanted to make it where the sides didn't really have that much of an impact on it. He wanted to really make it big like that, to where you see so much more, while keeping that widescreen image, but kind of keeping it in the middle. And yeah, you can see a whole lot more stuff going on with that IMAX format. And in Batman v Superman, it was just there for select sequences. The entire movie's in IMAX with Justice League here. And there's other differences, of course, like, for example, Cyborg's father ends up getting killed in this version of the movie. So for people that are fans of Doom Patrol, the series, if they would have made this movie the way it was meant to be made, you wouldn't have had Cyborg's father at all in the TV series Doom Patrol. Now, a lot of people have been asking me to review all the DC TV shows, especially the HBO Max originals. I'm not. Okay, I'm not doing it. First off, I've already spent enough money, in my opinion, going ahead and getting all of the DC films I didn't have for this event. So I'm not going to do all TV shows. It's not happening. But, if I ever run out of content, maybe I'll think about that, but I'm far from that. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about giving the film a ranking. This film gets a solid 4 stars for me. This is an epic event. And I was blown away. And every single time I watch this particular version of the movie, which is, like I said, over 4 hours long, there's just so much of an experience there. So yeah, definitely a solid 4 stars for me. So Fu says, check out this version of Justice League. Make sure you eat a lot of popcorn, and make sure you get an energy drink or something, because you're going to be sitting down for a while. But it's certainly worth the fun and the experience that you get with the film. That's all I gotta say for Justice League, and I'll see you guys next time for my review of The Suicide Squad. Until then.